Terminator Dark Fate stars Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger and is directed by Tim Miller with a producing credit from James Cameron. And now this is the 6th Terminator movie in the franchise, and also the first one since 1991 where James Cameron has been involved. Yeah, he got the rights back a couple years ago, and now we got a new Terminator movie with James Cameron's name under it. So if you saw my ranking video I did a few weeks back, you'll know that I'm more of a recent fan of the Terminator franchise. I've always loved the first 2 movies, but actually before that video was the first time I actually saw 3, Salvation, and Genesis. I skipped those movies because everyone told me to. And so I'm more of a recent fan of the Terminator franchise, yet I was still very excited to see this movie. I was actually one of the few people that I knew personally that was really excited to see this movie. Everyone who saw the trailer just said, it looks like it could be okay, or they thought it was going to be bad. I was one of the few people really pulling through for this movie. And I'm going to do something a little bit different with this review. I'm not going to go my usual route that I've been doing, where I talk about the plot and the characters, pros, cons, all that stuff. I'm not going to do that for this video because there's some stuff I want to talk about a little bit more in depth. And that's really because I haven't really thought of a way to do it without giving certain parts away. And I've seen a few reviewers on YouTube do this, and I think it's appropriate for me to do it too. I'm going to give spoiler-free thoughts as best as I can, and then after I rate the movie, then I have to go into spoilers. That's the easiest way to do it. It's the only way I'll feel fulfilled doing it. So if you haven't seen the movie, then you're fine up until I give the rating. But once I give the rating, I will be going into spoiler territory. I'll give you one more warning when that comes up. So let's give spoiler-free thoughts as best as I can without giving away certain stuff that I really want to talk about. So let's start out positive and talk about what I liked about the movie first. I really liked Arnold Schwarzenegger and Linda Hamilton in this movie. They both were easily my favorite parts of the movie. Linda Hamilton, it felt like she never lost it. Obviously, she's an older Sarah Connor because this movie takes place after Terminator 2, and they kind of did with her sort of like what they did with Laurie Strode in last year's Halloween movie, and I was all for that. I really wanted to see that, and it was really cool to see. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's of course great as a Terminator. He's very funny in this movie. He's got a lot of great lines and a lot of funny moments in the movie. Not a lot, because he's not on screen that much. That's not a spoiler. People have been talking about that ever before the movie came out. So he's not in the movie very much, but the time that he has on screen was damn entertaining and very funny. And I absolutely loved Mackenzie Davis in this movie. She was so awesome. She was so badass. She was funny. She was likable. Everything I wanted in a hero for the movie. And it delivered on that. I also really liked the girl that they're trying to protect in the movie. I can't remember the actress's name, but her character in the movie, her name is Danny. I really liked her in the movie too. Basically, all the casting in this movie, even the Rev 9, the updated T-1000, they call it the Rev 9, but it's an updated T-1000. Anyway, he was really good in the movie too. Basically, all the casting were my favorite parts of the movie, easily. The action in the movie too is, of course, great. It's much better than it was in Genesis. The CGI is a little iffy at times, the full body CGI figures, and some of the explosions felt kind of rubberized. They had this glossy look to them, and at times it took me out of the movie, and that is one of my negatives, which we'll get into more of my negatives with spoiler talk. But overall, I'd say the action is well filmed. The CGI is a kind of hit and miss. Some stuff's really good, some stuff isn't. But overall, the action is very enjoyable and another highlight of the movie. Much better than Genesis was. So that's really as spoiler-free as I can get. Honestly, I have a lot of gripes with this movie, so I'm going to get into my overall thoughts, rate the movie, and then get into spoilers, because there's quite a bit I want to talk about for spoiler territory. And so overall, this movie's enjoyable. I think this movie's much more enjoyable than Terminator Genesis, and even at times more than Salvation. But I'm not going to lie, I was really looking forward to this movie, but by the end, I was really disappointed. It's not a terrible movie. It's a good action movie. As a Terminator movie, it's kind of but overall, it's enjoyable, but it has a lot of problems. And my rating for the movie is going to be wait for the Redbox for this. I don't really think you need to go to the theater to see the movie. if you watch this at home on your TV, whether on Blu-ray, 4K, whatever you guys watch, it's going to have the same impact as if you see it in theaters. But personally, if you ask me, I would say just wait for the Redbox. You don't really need to go see this in theaters. Okay, and now we're getting into spoilers. And you know me, I don't do spoilers for new releases. I only do it if there's something big to talk about. I even did Avengers Endgame spoiler free, so there is something big to talk about here. I'm mainly doing it for this one because I have quite a bit of issues with the movie that I have to get into spoilers. So if you have seen the movie, feel free to stay around. If you haven't seen the movie, then I would say skip this part of the video or go watch the movie, then come back to this part of the video. If you don't care about spoilers, again, feel free to join me, but this is your final warning, spoilers. So, my biggest gripe with the movie, something that pissed me off instantaneously, and something that left a sour taste in my mouth throughout the whole rest of the movie is, we heard that it was announced pretty late into production that Edward Furlong is going to be in the movie. You know, if you don't know who he is, he played young John Connor in Terminator 2. Well, he's in the movie in CGI form. Yeah, they digitally de-aged Edward Furlong. And the beginning of the movie, the opening of the movie takes place, I think, a year after Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I could be wrong. Could be a couple of years. Anyway, it takes place after Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And Edward Furlong, John Connor, and Sarah Connor are at this little beach bar, and John Connor's talking to this girl. And then we cut back to Sarah Connor, and we see a buff figure walking behind her. Of course, we know it's Arnold. And he says, John Connor? That's a terrible impression. But anyway, he says John Connor, pulls out a shotgun, and just kills John Connor. In the first 2 minutes of the damn movie. That pissed me off so much because the more I thought about it instantaneously, but the more I thought about it, the more it's pretty much true. Now that they've killed John Connor, the first two movies are basically useless. They don't matter anymore because the biggest plot point of the first two movies was, the first one was protect Sarah Connor so she can give birth to John Connor, and then the second movie was protect John Connor because he's going to be the leader of the Resistance. And this movie doesn't follow 3 or the other movies, but now that they've killed John Connor, the first two movies are basically pointless now. Here's another thing too. I was like, okay, that's ballsy. I'm not one of those people that complains about changes like that unless they're justified, unless there's a reasoning behind it. So I said, okay, that's ballsy. Let's see what it does. Can you guess what it does? What's that? Can you guess what it does? Yeah, that's right. It does absolutely nothing. They go nowhere with it. And I tried to move past it, but it just left a sour taste in my mouth because the rest of the movie, I don't know if you guys would consider this a spoiler, but I'm putting it in spoiler territory just in case. The rest of the movie is basically a copy and paste of Terminator 2 Judgment Day. That was another big disappointment because we are now 4 movies after Terminator 2 into this series. Only one of them has been a different story, something we haven't seen yet. The rest of these have just been a copy and paste of the first 2 movies. I'm still waiting to see a Terminator movie that does something different, that tells a different story. You know, I was talking with a friend of this after the movie. Why not do a Terminator movie that takes place right when Judgment Day begins? Because guess what? With this movie, there's another Judgment Day coming. Like I said, it's a copy and paste of Terminator 2. So why not do a Terminator movie that takes place in Judgment Day? You know, we have a movie, Terminator Salvation, that takes place after Judgment Day, and we've had 2 sequels three movies that take place before Judgment Day. Why not do an in-between movie? Show us Judgment Day. You know, stop wasting our time with another recycled plot from a good movie. We get it. Terminator 2 exists. It's a damn good movie. You don't have to pay homage, whatever you call it, to the movie by just doing the same plot. It's getting tiring, and I understand why this movie is not doing good at the box office. It's made $29 million on its opening weekend in the US. That's horrible, especially for a franchise that has the reputation of Terminator. Now, I did say I liked the girl they're trying to protect in the movie. I really do. I like the actress, I like the character, but I'm sorry, she is not John Connor. And I keep going back to that, but that's honestly the sour spot for me. And they tease it so, it's the same thing. They're trying to protect her so she can give birth to her future son, who's going to become the leader of this new Judgment Day. But then they kind of bait and switch it a little bit and by saying, we're not protecting your future son, we're protecting you. And Sarah Connor has this awful line where she just says, "You're John Connor." And I just thought, really? We killed John Connor to give us another John Connor. That's why I'm saying it's pointless. You can argue that Arnold killing John Connor added a little bit of weight to him and Sarah Connor later on in the movie when he shows up, but that's a lazy reason for killing your main focus of your original two movies that you're still keeping canon. Honestly, the more I think about it, the more I just said to myself, why didn't they just completely reboot the Terminator franchise with this movie? Why didn't they just do it? They're basically doing it now, only they don't have the guts to actually get rid of the first two movies and start from fresh again. Honestly, it would have been better. Okay, not better than the original two movies, but this movie itself would have been better than the movie we got if it was just a complete reboot. Man, this movie was disappointing. This movie really let me down because of those reasons. And you could argue the same plot is a minor reason, because I've given passes to movies that have done the same plot for previous movies, but here's why. It justified itself. Each movie, like Star Wars The Force Awakens, Creed, I've given passes on those movies. Blair Witch, believe it or not, I liked Blair Witch. I've given passes on those movies because they kind of justified themselves for doing the same thing. This one doesn't. There's even a new Skynet in the movie. Yeah, they got rid of Skynet. This new one's called Legion. It's doing the same thing Skynet's doing. I can't believe they took this direction. I really can't, because I wanted to love this movie. I wanted to scream to the heavens, I love this movie. I can't say that. I walked out very disappointed, and I did hear this movie was gonna start a new trilogy of Terminator movies. Now, with the money it's making and the reputation it's getting, I don't even know if they're gonna do that. Honestly, I don't even want to see that. At this point, I would just say, just end the franchise. Just end it. You're obviously not going to throw in new ideas. You're throwing in new characters. You've got one step down, but you're not throwing in new story and new ideas. It's obvious they're running out of steam, so just end the franchise. Just end it. So yeah, I think I got it all I wanted to say out about Terminator Dark Fate. Enjoyable movie. I must reiterate this. It's an enjoyable movie. I did enjoy myself with it. It at times was a very fun movie. The action's really good. The performances are very good. I really liked Mackenzie Davis in the movie. But, man, the script and the choices they made was just baffling. And I think this franchise has run out of steam. So, like I said earlier, I think it's safe to just end it. So if you've guys seen Terminator Dark Fate, let me know what you thought about it in the comment section. Did you like the movie? Did you like the changes they did or the choices they made? Whatever your thoughts on it is, let me know in the comment section. And are you hoping they do more? I'm not anymore, but whatever your thoughts on it, let me know in the comment section. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Look forward to more videos soon, including a Blu-ray update video, a review for Dr. Sleep, and I might review Midway. I'm seeing that with my dad, so I might review that one. Anyway, guys, thank you again for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, then click right here. And I will see you guys next time.